Hey there everybody, it's Mark Crilley. I'm back with another video. You know, today I'm kind of under the gun with my deadlines for Mastering Manga 2, and so I'm going to give myself a little bit of a break from doing a how to draw video. Going to do a video kind of like I did back in November, showing different artwork from my past illustration jobs. This one is from Random House book Akiko and the Intergalactic 5000, in which I show this rocket ship and they have to go through this maze. It's like a planet that's built like a maze. I always enjoyed this illustration. It was a double-page spread, and just like the kind of insane detail of it all. This is the front cover from a series I did called Billy Click. This was the second book in the series, Billy Click, Rogmasher Rampage. And you can see I was trying a different style here, almost a kind of cubist-looking, very angular style. I thought you would enjoy seeing the size comparison to the final book, how large the original is and how much it gets shrinked down. This is pretty unusual. You know, I used to do cartoons for Nickelodeon magazine. They actually hired me to write and illustrate a comic strip, a SpongeBob comic strip. Really all I did for this was to write the story and do the pencils. I can't take credit for the coloring, the inking, and so forth. But you can see how hard I tried to get the authentic SpongeBob look there, studying very carefully. It's 3 freckles, man, not 4. Anyway, I thought you would get a kick out of that. This one also very unusual. Mark Crilley's 32 pages. This was a collection, a comic book collection of little mini comics that I had done back in the 90s. The darker side of a happy-go-lucky cartoonist. And I was trying to do a sort of underground comic style there, maybe R. Crumb inspired. It's probably one of my least known works. If you've seen this, you are a true completist. This is something I take great pride in. Jeff Smith, you know, is the creator of Bone. If you have not seen his landmark comic book series, you definitely should check it out. But he hired me to do this map of the world of his comic, which he calls The Valley. Yeah, I felt very honored that he came to me and asked me to do this illustration, which you can see he used as the end papers for this special volume on the series. Here's another thing that not very many people know about, this Japanese translation that I did with the help of a Japanese friend of the very first Akiko comic book story that I ever did, Akiko on the Planet Smoo. You can see that I went through and translated, well, I didn't translate it, but the friend translated it for me, but I hand wrote all of this stuff in Japanese. There are a few mistakes, apparently, as it goes along. You can see even the sound effects, GAN! Kind of fun. And it never was actually published. It was a lot of work for just basically the students that I was teaching in Japan at that time. Spakura kono bakamono! So that's what Mr. Beavis sounds like in Japanese. Here's another weird one, the cover art for one of the Akiko comics, in which I challenged myself to do a painting like Vincent van Gogh, and I just replaced Vincent's face with Mr. Biba, my silly-looking character from that series. But I enjoyed the challenge of trying to replicate his brush strokes. This is all done in acrylic paint rather than oil. Yeah, that was kind of the thing that I loved doing the most at that time, was just taking on other people's styles and seeing how it would work out for me. And speaking of taking on other people's styles, this was me doing my version of Winsor McKay's Little Nemo in Slumberland, replacing again his characters with mine. This was a lot of fun, but very time-consuming. I came to respect even more than I had before Winsor McKay, and just how much incredible work it must have been to create these comic strips. You can see she always wakes up at the end just like Nemo did, except I changed the line to, "Kiko, you ate too much sushi before bedtime, didn't you? So, I don't know. If you know the Little Nemo comic strips, you'll sort of get what this was all about. Otherwise, I don't know. Hope you enjoy it just as an illustration. Here's another pretty unusual project, and I think I might have showed this to the people that are on my Facebook page, the Mark Crilley Official Facebook page over there. But this, I was hired to do this comic book cover in which I show George Lucas with the top of his head looking like Yoda. One of the few times that I tried to do a kind of, photographic likeness almost. And again, there was a time when I thought I might be able to do this sort of illustration work professionally. It never really did work out that way, but I've always felt this one turned out pretty well. Here's a piece of back cover artwork from the Akiko comic book series. I've always liked this kind of style where you reduce the amount of color. It's basically just shades of brown. And there's just a really nice calming feeling I get from this type of illustration. Here's another one of these things that I did for Nickelodeon magazine, James and Miles. And the joke was that these two characters are in a comic strip and they actually understand that they're in a comic strip and they're sort of able to move the panels and so forth. You get down to the end. Here, I'll zoom in just a second. You get down to the end and the character's like, "You know, Miles, I can't help thinking we've not seen the last of our troubles. Relax, James, I'm sure we'll be fine so long as no one turns the page." And then I sort of illustrate more realistically the hand turning the page. Kind of weird, but hopefully the Nickelodeon readers enjoyed it. Here's something very few people have seen, and that's the original artwork from the fourth book in the Miki Falls series. And what makes it unusual is that there's always been this strip here that has the title and so forth. So to have that removed, to see the complete work of art, that really is something that only the editor and other people at the company have seen before. Here's a very action-packed piece of cover art from the Akiko comic book series. You can see Spuckler, my action-adventure character, crash landing on a planet in a galaxy far, far away. I've always been fascinated with creating these weathered surfaces, and almost never like anything to be shiny and brand new looking. I somehow prefer it to look like it's from a junkyard or something. And here I've saved the strangest thing for last. Strange in the sense of people may be pretty surprised to know that I did this kind of work. I did not create this object, let's just be clear about that. But I was hired by a friend in Japan who, their company made these sort of decorative picture frames. I was hired to do the design of this. So I did a pencil drawing that showed, Snow Story and all this and where the different characters would be. And then they sent that off to, I believe, a factory in China that, made a model of it and then proceeded to, mass produce them for the Japanese market. So somewhere out in Japan, in homes across the nation, if they haven't thrown them away, are a few of these picture frames that I designed. Well, folks, that's the end of this video. I do apologize for this not being a how to draw video. Almost certainly next week's Friday video will be a how to draw video. Like I said, I'm kind of under the gun with my deadlines, giving myself a little bit of a day off here so that I can catch up on Mastering Manga 2. I'm told it will be out in the first week of October. Sorry it takes a while for these things to work their way through the printing process and get into the stores, but it is on its way. Well, that's enough of that for now. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll be back with another one real soon.